Do you need a little inspiration on what kind of family history book you should create to inspire and connect the past with the present and the future? Well, stick around. I think you're going to be encouraged. Howdy, I'm Devin Noel Lee with Family History Fanatics, where we help you climb your family tree by understanding DNA, researching records, and writing family histories, which is why I'm so glad you're joining us today. So today's topic is the types of family histories that you could create. And you definitely want to make sure that you check the description of this video for a lot of resources that can help you accomplish your goals, as well as a playlist on how to be a better family history writer. Now, for many of us, when we think of creating a family history book, we typically think of one that looks like this. It's fact-focused. It is essentially printing out our pedigree charts, our group sheets, and our research notes. And while that is all well and good, I definitely want to direct you to a blog post that I wrote talking about how to critically read a family history to make it more interesting. If you don't want to write another boring family history, then do something a little bit more than what you see on the screen here. It's okay to be fact-focused, but this is something we did in the past, and it was wonderful before we had online trees and the easy sharing of genealogy research files. So be fact-focused, but don't just print off family trees. So I'm going to highly encourage you to write story-based books. You can do it yourself. You can hire assistants, or you can completely outsource it. So a story-based book could be a photo biography. Now, there are a lot of companies that do tend towards this style. You give them the content, you give them the pictures, and they'll help you create a photo biography. And just like the company that you see featured on screen, you'll find a link to them in our show notes blog post over at blog.familyhistoryfanatics.com. You can check in the description for that link. So, photo biographies, they're very visual, they have high quality photo paper, wonderful projects to invest with, and you can also get some assistance creating such books. Now, I have featured on this channel a number of times the narrative biography. In fact, they're right there back on my shelf. I like them because they're short and they do have a lot of text. So it's like reading a novel, but it also has a lot of images. Now, I use lulu.com in order to print a narrative biography, but a number of publishers, which we'll feature in a future video, can help you make a narrative biography. The difference between the photo biography and the narrative biography is the photo biography has a lot more pictures on photo paper, and the narrative biography has a little more text and not on photo paper. They use quality printing paper. Now, another type of story that you could write are generational narratives. They could be in the photo biography format, or they could be in the narrative biography format. But as my friend Lisa also put together, it is a story of multiple generations on one theme. When you have finished writing about one person, then you can start seeing how different stories overlap and then put a book together like this. There will be a link to this book that you can find on Amazon in the description. Another type of story-focused book that you could have is moments in time. Perhaps you have ancestors that had a overlap in their life. Like in this case, you had a nurse and a pilot. And in that moment in time, here's their story. Another moment in time is like my memoir about when I participated in beauty pageants. Moments in times. It's not a whole life story. It's just moments in time captured in either a photo book narrative style or in the more narrative, more text with photos style. Now, I'm a visual person, and you're going to see a lot of videos on this channel about family history scrapbooking, heritage scrapbooking, personal scrapbooking. I have a lot of blog posts on designing heritage scrapbooks, layouts, colors, and things like that. Scrapbooks are fantastic. Now, there's two types of scrapbooks that I will invite you to consider. One of them, even though it's not billed as a scrapbook by this company, it really is like a captioned photo books. So think about all of your photos that you have in your home. Can everybody have a copy of those photos? Well, no. And most importantly, we not only want to see the images, we want to know the details that's on the back of the book, on the back of the pictures. So what you can create are captioned photo books, where essentially it's a photo album with the captions, and you can make multiple copies for everybody to have. You don't need a lot of creative design skills in order to do this. Now, you can have a company like this one here create that, or insert caption photo pages in a larger project, or you can use Shutterfly or Mixbooks to accomplish the same goal. The other types of scrapbooks would be the ones that when you think of scrapbooking, this is what you think of: more digitally creative, telling little bitty stories with photos around it and a bit of decorative elements. Let me advise you not to go hog wild in embellishments. The most important thing in your heritage and family history scrapbooks are the stories and the photos. If you ever have somebody say, wow, that's a really great design page, you kind of missed the boat. I know I'm going to start a war on that, but the point is you want to highlight your ancestors and their stories more than the products on the page. Heritage cookbooks. Now, heritage cookbooks are really exciting if your family had more than Domino's Pizza as their traditional meals like I did. But if you have a lot of recipes that your ancestors made, then consider creating a heritage cookbook. Now, there are some companies that can help you design this and make this look fabulous. Those will be all mentioned in that show notes that I was mentioning. You definitely want to check out our blog for that. But you can also use Shutterfly and Mixbook just like you would to design a scrapbook or a captioned photo book. You can create a recipe book. I also love when there are stories about military histories. When you have a family that has a tradition of participating in military service. Now, these books are available online for purchase. One of them is the family, the Cahills, and how this family constantly participated in the military. And another one is a military biography about one individual. So some of your family histories are going to be focused on military service. If you have a railroaders, you could do railroad service. If you have a long line of bakers, you could do a occupational history of all of your bakers, not the surname bakers, but the actual pastry makers. So consider doing those type of histories. Consider making children's books. If you want to inspire the next generation to enjoy and appreciate their heritage and their legacy, make books that are more simple. They typically don't want to read books like this when they're pretty young. They do want to see illustrated books. There are services that can help you with the illustration. So check the show notes blog post that's mentioned in the description for those services. You can also consider making chapter books. Now, a chapter book is a twist on the narrative biography. Chapter books are typically shorter, have larger font size, and have a simplified story. It does include pictures, so don't ever think that I can't put pictures in this. But if you have a story that lacks pictures, that's okay as well. So consider writing something for a younger audience, and if you want the more in-depth story, you have the narrative biography, and you get 2 books for one ancestor. Now, some of you have letters, and you think, what do I do about these love letters from the war, or letters about sent home as someone migrated to a location, Or maybe you have letters from mission trips. What can you do? Well, there's 2 examples on Amazon where you can investigate how people use their letters to turn them into books. I would highly recommend that occasionally you actually include scanned images of the letters so we can connect and identify with that old handwriting and the postage stamps and the marks and things like that. But you'll also want to include the transcriptions of the letters. And then you've got to bridge the gap between the letters, to add the historical context so we understand what's going on. But go ahead and check out these books. And if you know of other books that we should be reading that are letter focused, let us know in the comments. Historical fiction. Now, I personally am not a fan of historical fiction because I'm not a creative writer. But there are some talented individuals who have taken their family stories and turned them into historical fiction. And you can go ahead and see these 2 examples over on Amazon as well. So take time to consider what's the best format for you. So what's your favorite format, or what format are you striving to create that maybe we hadn't even thought of? Let's utilize the comments section to continue the discussion about formats that we can use for family history. If you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss another episode. And then when you're all done with that, go ahead and watch these videos on how to write your family stories.